Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the first broadcast of Andrea M. Smith Live. I am so excited to have you all here. I am excited to actually do this broadcast and actually become a part of the YouTube platform. Um, I was pretty nervous about doing this at first, but I decided I think I would go ahead and do it. I do a lot of my posting and talking about healing and relationships and so forth on Instagram. But I decided that I would take this message over into YouTube because there is so much that's happening here on YouTube, so many discussions, so many dialogues and conversations that are happening. And I really wanted the opportunity to be able to participate in them. The other thing is that um, I want to be able, through this particular platform, to be able to speak to people about the things that make life and the things that make sense, right? There is a lot that is going on. There is so much that is happening, so many discussions, so many ideologies, so many narratives, so many things that are happening. Not only here on YouTube, but other social media platforms. And I really thought that it was time to bring in a voice and bring in a voice that could bring a little bit of more nuance to the conversations that are currently happening on Facebook. Um, and just social media, right, in general. And so Andrea M. Smith Live is going to be a place where people will be allowed to engage, where we will have conversations that, yes, will be challenging, conversations that will uh, be sometimes, I'm not going to say combative, because I'm not looking to be combative, I'm not looking to be argumentative, but I am looking to have conversations and to kind of dissect them a little bit in a way so that we can not just have conversations, but that we actually can get to a solution. And so again, I am very, very excited. And so with this first episode, I know that there are so many things that are happening right now on social media, so many things that are being said, so many things being talked about. There's the hot topics, there are the trending things, and there's just the simple rah-rah of it all. But I like to do in this first episode is what I wanted to do is just to really just kind of like everybody take a breath, everybody just kind of woosah. And let's just have what I want to call a healing moment. Let's just have a moment where we just can have a discussion without all of the back and forth, so to say, not something so provocative and just so alarming, but just having a conversation about where we are and what's happening in your life in particular. Just to give a little bit of background about myself, again, my name is Andrea Smith, and I am a mental health advocate and I'm a mental health coach. And what I like to do is I like to help people to be able to move through the the stages of their mental well-being so that healing can show up in every part of their life. I believe that when you are in a mentally and emotionally well space, that should transfer into every area of your life. So that should transfer into your relationships, whether they be business, whether they be ministry, whether they are with your husband and wife, whether they're with your children, wherever you show up. I just believe that you should show up well, and that you should show up prepared to engage and prepared so that people can experience it is just to help them to move along. It is to help say. Because one of the things that I'm finding and what I'm noticing and I see quite often on social media is that the discussions are not so balanced sometimes, right? Everybody has a position, and for the most part people stay with their position, but then when you have feedback, or what some will say an opposing view, or maybe just a different view, it can become sometimes combative because people are just not willing to take the opportunity or just take the moment to just listen to what the other person is saying. Because there's always two sides to the coin, there's always two sides to the story. And so what we have to learn how to do, when we're having these conversations on social media or wherever they may be, even in your homes, is that we have to learn how to listen to one another. We have to learn how to hear what the person is saying, and not hear it through our feelings, not hear it through our emotions, not hear it through our own personal ideologies, not hear it through our own personal narratives, but hear it really through the heart of the person and what they are actually saying. And so that's what I want to help with. That's what I want to give a voice to. That's what I want to create a space for. I want to create a space for dialogue that is balanced so that people will begin to be able to not only articulate what they feel, but be also able to be listen to what the other person is saying, and at times when necessary take the accountability for whatever you may have done, for whatever you may have said, for whatever you may have misinterpreted, whatever you may have miscommunicated. Because in any given situation, especially when we're talking about um, in particular relationships, because that seems to be the biggest thing that's going on now in social media is relationships. And for me, I really want to be able to enter into that conversation, but I want to enter in it being a balanced voice. I am not going to enter into those conversations to be the advocate for women. I will not enter those conversations to be the advocate for men. I am going to be the advocate for wholeness. I'm going to be an advocate for healthy and loving relationships that thrive. I'm going to be the advocate for people taking accountability for what they do. And again, this is going to be my theme for how you show up, because most times what we find is that it is very easy to say what has been done to us, but it is very difficult for us to say what we've done. And so that is where that seems to me to be the dividing line. That seems to be the separator, because accountability seems to be a very hard thing for us to do. And one of the things about healing is this, is he and pinpoint it and go point by point as to what happened and what was done. But the difficult part about healing is to be able to take an account for the decisions that you made that brought you to the point of where you are. So, in other words, it's very easy for us to say what this person did to me, but it is what's becomes challenging is for me to take responsibility for the decision that I made that caused the action and now the behavior that I'm displaying. What do I mean? What I mean is you're in a relationship with a man or you're in a relationship with a woman. They cheated, they uh, uh I don't know, they whatever they did, they were emotionally abusive, whatever that was. The thing about it is that more than likely that particular thing in them, that particular behavior probably was present when you met them and you saw it. And a lot of times what we do is we reason away what we see because we don't want to wait, because we don't want to be alone, because we don't want to um, just allow people or give people the opportunity, I'll say, to display exactly who they are. And so now, when that particular thing shows up that you reasoned away, because now you're deeper into the relationship, it looks bigger, it looks larger, it looks sometimes it looks unrecognizable, but it's the very same thing. And so now when the relationship is over and you're walking away heartbroken and you're walking away just, depressed and defeated and angry and frustrated and all of these things, it is very easy for us to be able to talk about the things that trigger what we do. But it's not so easy for us to talk about the fact that I made a decision to be with somebody and I saw behaviors and I saw certain things that I reasoned away, and I'm not only hurting because of what they did to me, but I'm also hurting because of what I did to myself. And that was the hardest part of healing for me, was to take the accountability. And so when we get into these conversations, which we'll do later on and in other episodes, we're really going to talk about these things. We're going to dig into how our mental and emotional health plays such a big role and a big part in what it is that we are doing when it comes to our relationships, when it comes to how we have these dialogues and how we what and the things that we see on social media, and not just on social media but even just in our private lives. Because I just believe that your mental health and your mental well-being is everything. It is everything. It should be your priority. After your relationship with the Lord, if you are a spiritual person, after that relationship, your relationship with yourself ought to be just as healthy, and it should be just as important to you. There should be some standards and boundaries that you set for yourself to keep yourself in a place that is mentally safe, that is mentally well, that serves you, that keeps you strong, that keeps you balanced, that keeps you healthy, that keeps you in a space where you are able to show up in circumstances and situations and relationships or whatever the case may be, well, right? Because sometimes we blame the things. We blame the thing. We use these fancy words like trigger and toxic and narcissist and gaslighting and photo bombing and what is it, love bombing, and all of these various things. We have all of these various tags that we use to attempt to explain away or excuse behaviors that we demonstrate, when really what we need to do is focus on why we do what we do. Why do you do what you do? Where does that come from? Where do your reactions come from? Where do your responses come from? How do your thought processes begin? When you hear certain things, or when you are a part of certain conversations, or when circumstances come up in your life, how you reasonably deduct what's going to happen, and how do you reasonably take into consideration and think about things before you respond, before you tell somebody how you feel. What do you do? What things do you have in place to keep yourself, in a space where you can articulate how you feel, but not to the degree where it becomes combative and argumentative, and what you're saying is being totally dismissed. And so in this healing moment, I just want to, just kind of start us off thinking about where we are, thinking about, just maybe even taking that moment to kind of pull away from social media just for a minute, if you have to kind of gather your thoughts. Because again, there are so many things that are going on. People are saying so many things. There are so many voices, and those voices have become so loud that your own voice you cannot even hear. And you need to, in the midst of all of this stuff, you need to be able to hear you. You need to be able to hear your own heart. You need to be able to be still and take a moment to think about um, where you are, how you feel, how you're thinking. Are you in a peaceful place? What's going to bring you peace? How do you set up standards and boundaries that keep you in a peaceful place? People, I see so many memes and people having conversations about how they won't let people steal their peace. And, if you don't bring peace, you can't stay, so forth and so on. Well, I think and I guess all of that is okay. And I guess, affirmations of keeping yourself in a peaceful place are all right. But I think behind that, what you need to do is you actually have to have some things in place. You actually have to have some mechanisms that are in place that are going to give you the peace that you desire, so that you just don't, you know, keep hoping a meme is going to work it out for you, or you do things that end up putting you in a place where you isolate yourself because you're so focused on, I want to have peace, I want to have peace, and you end up blocking out people, or you end up blocking out the things that'll help you sustain what it is that you're attempting to do, and that is to give yourself peace. And so we're going to do a lot. We're going to talk about a lot of things on this channel. We're going to have, I hope to have some guests. I hope to have people who will come um, and share with us, their own experiences and have conversations that are real. I want to have dialogue. I do not want to argue. I do not want to put myself in a space as the person who knows it all. But what I do want to do is to offer my experiences. I want to offer the wisdom that I believe that I have obtained through my own experiences. After I'm 59 years old, I know I'm fabulous, right? I know. Um, and um, Having been married, I was married for 22 years. I had some issues in my childhood with being a victim of sexual abuse. Um, I have gone through some tight spots in my life, from divorce to homelessness to a near death experience when I had my son, to um, financial crisis, and to just being in a place where um, I had to recover all. Let me say it that way, because I had lost everything. And now when I had to learn how to get it back together and to recover, um, and live as a whole person, live as a whole woman, and learn that life and things that happened were not centered around me, but that I had to learn how to engage and live life, not for myself, but learn how to live life in a way where I was good, but that I would also pour into the people who were around me. I had to learn how to separate myself at times, of course. There are relationships that I had to let go of. There were moments when I thought that the people who I thought would help me were not there to help me. And in the end, I found out that it was okay, because it was this thing that God put me through called process that helped me to understand that if I was going to be better, that if I was going to be emotionally and mentally well, that I would not have to only learn how to trust the process, but that I would have to learn how to participate in the process. And I think that that's what we don't learn how to do. We want healing. We want to be well. We want to feel good. We want to be great, but we have to learn how to participate. And sometimes our participation means being honest about where we are, being honest about how we feel about ourselves, being honest about how we see ourselves, being honest about what we've done, about the decisions that we've made. We got to be honest, because if you can't clean it up and hide it at the same time, right? So you've got to decide that you're going to look at things for what they are, and what you're going to clean up, clean up. Be honest. That's the first thing you got to do, is you must be honest. And so I'm hoping that you will join with me. I'm looking to do some things that are just really different, some things that you don't see on social media. I'm going to do lives and all of that. But again, it is not my intention to be provocative. It is not my intention to be, again, argumentative, but it is to have discussions that at sometimes, yes, we'll get a little challenge, or hear some things that maybe we don't agree with or do agree with. But I don't want us to get into a space where we are combative. I want us to have a discussion, and I want us to have discussions that are solution based. because there is plenty of discussions going on and conversations that are happening on social media where people are giving their opinions, people are giving their thoughts, people are giving what they believe to be the right way, the wrong way, who did this, who said that. But I don't see too many discussions where, before the live is over or before the recording is over, we've come up with some solutions. We've come up with some ways that we can move forward to do things different so that we can get a different result. Relationships can't be healed if people don't want to put forth solutions to help the relationship to move forward. We can't do things better if we just want to keep arguing and we want somebody to just advocate our point. You just can't have somebody that advocates your point. You have to be willing to say that this is what I've done. This is what I need to fix. This is what I need to consider so that I can get a better result. Because the whole premise of healing is that you do better so that you can get better and stay better, right? You want to stay better. And so, again, I am so excited about Andrea M. Smith Live. I'm excited to be on YouTube. I'm excited to be able to share with you the things that I've discovered. But again, I'm just excited, and I thank you so much for joining me. I thank you so much for taking the time to come and to listen, and to just take a look at what's going on over here at Andrea M. Smith Live. And I'm going to ask that, but we're in things in our life that will allow us to be able to sustain the peace and the healing and the joy and the wholeness and all of these things that we want to experience. But we also want to be in a place where we are able to um, articulate what we're feeling in a way that gets the result that we're looking for, right? And so um, I'm just excited. I am nervous and um, this is going to be a challenge for me. Um, I'm kind of like the background person. I don't necessarily need to be on camera all of the time, but or at any time, to be honest with you. But I just felt like it was time to go ahead and do this, and I had the support of my family and my friends to do this, and so I'm in a good space. I don't need a whole lot of amens to get me going. I just need the right ones, and I have the right people who are behind me or who are supporting this effort that I'm taking on to begin to share in the lives of people so that they can be better. I believe that there is a role that we all play. We all have a gift, a skill, a talent that will be a blessing to other people. And I think that we need to utilize them. We always call for change, but we have to at times decide that we're going to be the change that we want to see. Sometimes, I would sit down and I'd see on social media, I would see how, I go to different platforms or uh, social media pages, I'll say, and I'd hear something that someone would say, and I would be looking for them to say it in a way that I would say it. And I thought about it and I said, well, maybe it's not for them to say, maybe it's for me to say. And that's why I'm not hearing it. So I think that what I believe should be a part of the conversation, that I'm supposed to be the one to say it. And so I've decided that I'm going to step up and I'll be the one to say it. And so I just look forward to being a support and an encouragement. And I hope to even challenge quite a few of you to do some things different, to think about some things in a different way, to not make you think like me, but to think in a way that's going to help you again get to where you want to be. I'm excited. Look out for more from me, from Andrea M. Smith Live, and from our channel. Please, again, like, share, and subscribe. Tell others about Andrea M. Smith Live and what we're doing over here and the types of conversations we're looking to have. And if you know some people who want to have a real dialogue and they want to talk about things that make life and that makes sense, then share this with them and tell them you need to subscribe to Andrea M. Smith Live. And I look forward to seeing you all soon. And I will see you on the next one. And thank you so much again for joining me for our first episode of Andrea M. Smith Live. You all have a good evening. Bye-bye.